Islamorada, the heart of the Florida Keys. The Florida Keys themselves, the most diverse ecosystem in the world. Tarpon, snook, dolphin, sailfish. There are very few places in the world that can chase that many species within the reach of one day. You have the Florida Everglades, the whole Everglades drainage into Florida Bay. You have the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic. They all come together at the end of the peninsula of South Florida into the Florida Keys. It's wintertime here in the Florida Keys. A great time to go to the Atlantic and chase sailfish. It's also a great time to run into the Everglades, into Florida Bay, and chase redfish and snook. City Hall. Had lots of good times here.
One of the greatest fishing places on the planet.
Remember walking up these docks as a kid, looking at all the guides like in awe.
Yeah.
You know, just wishing I was that guy.
Crusty old dudes.
No shoes.
Yeah, that's right.
I think you should just go all the way across.
You know, the fishing's been good over there.
Yeah.
You know, it's the flats have been loaded with fish.
We can run over and then maybe fish our way back.
Right, right.
Tide's good, low over there in the morning.
Been a ton of
Be
redfish.
with you, bro. Been a long time.
It's so good to be with you. You know that. Always good to share a boat instead of be against each other in boats.
Exactly.
You know?
Many of my young fishing days, from 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, were spent with Paul, poling flats, learning new areas, learning the backcountry of the Everglades, going on trips to Key West, fishing for permit and tarpon. Some of my fondest memories as a youngster was with Paul. And later in life, we became roommates. Once I started guiding and he had become a full-time guide, we were tournament fishing together. He wasn't just a friend, he was a brother. And he's one of those few people in life that over a 35 or 40-year friendship, we've remained extremely close, even though we've competed against each other in some of the most sought-after tournaments to win in the world.
Well, Rob and I, when we started fishing, he was just 17 years old, and I was a little older. Always been a little older than him. We kind of gelled right away because we both had the same ideas about learning the backcountry and learning areas that other people didn't quite know.
I've gotten lots of bugs in my eyes running in the tournaments in the dark in here.
And how about when you see that next boat like right in front of you and
yeah.
just about to stop? Running from Islamorada to the Everglades is one of our daily activities because we can cover all that water in Florida Bay. Florida Bay goes for 30 miles into the backcountry. So we used to do that as kids growing up, and we kind of put a puzzle together that's the whole map of the Florida Keys and back into the Everglades of all the waterways and island chains that are in the backcountry. So when we put all that together, it takes several years to do that. When you put all that together, you have this whole expanse of just great fishing areas that you can go to.
Running back into Florida Bay to the Glades from the Keys, as we made our way back, I was talking to Paul about the tides and the conditions we had that day. And he mentioned stopping at a spot that was one of the first spots that both of us ever fished out of Flamingo. I don't know, as soon as he said the spot, I got a smile on my face because it was an old school place. And for years, a lot of the old school spots didn't exist anymore. The fish just did not inhabit these places. But interestingly enough, some of those places are starting to come back. The fish are starting to find their way back to the places that Paul and I started fishing this whole ecosystem. I just got bumped right there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's loaded in here.
See the muds where I was getting bumped?
Yeah. Cast just to the right of those muds and you're gonna hook up right away. I think there's several in there. There you go.
I saw him eat it. Right under my tennis shoes.
Yeah. Just a matter of time when you see that much action going on. You know, a lot of times, like, people think about sight fishing, and we're actually sight fishing.
Right.
I mean, we're
right.
You know, you've got to put.
You're looking for signs.
You're looking for signs
Potholes,
of everything. Yeah.
Muds.
Putting it on the edges.
You know, it's an interesting change. Everything evolves through time. Boats get better, fishing tackle gets better, outboards become more reliable, and fishermen, especially their approach, gets different. Paul and I learned old school. You know, you pull up to a flat, you get the push pole out, and you start poling, and you figure out the topography of this whole area. And it doesn't take long after you pull down a flat to learn where all the fish live on a certain tide. You can stab the pole in, anchor yourself, and keep casting and start catching. When Paul and I learned to navigate these waters and learn where the fish were, we were using maps from World War II. We didn't have the ability to turn on a GPS, put in a Google Map chip, and follow our way to our destination. We kind of felt our way to our destination. We would stop, we'd use landmarks, we'd mark on maps because they weren't that accurate. And I think in a way, because it took us a little longer to learn things, it was a little more difficult to get to A to B, we learned it more intimately than the modern day fisherman.
All right, cast now, 1230, 60 feet. There you go. Woo! Fast and furious here, man.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Each cast are getting a little bigger. I like the way that worked.
Each one, just a little bigger, and then will come Mr. Snook.
It's quality fish, you know?
Sure you don't want me to help you with that?
I don't want to mess up the mojo. We got good mojo going right now.
Everything's going really good. But I know you're going to get wet. Oh, he's got great color, man.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah. Nice
He was ready to go. I think Paul's now been about a 35-year professional guide, full-time. He resigned from tournament fishing last year. He's 62 years old. Guy's in amazing shape. Both of our careers, we've competed against one another in these big tournaments. And combined, we have more tournament wins in the Florida Keys than any other two guides that have ever lived. But having said that, in most situations you would find yourself competing against someone like that, even though you respect them, you kind of aren't their buddy. You know, that's usually like, he's your foe. He's not your friend. And Paul and I have remained friends throughout all the tournament situations that we've competed against one another, all the other things that life has brought and thrown at us. The one thing that hasn't changed is we're buddies. Really like brothers, but we're buddies.
These days, it's a lot better spending a day with Rob in the boat than even before, when we were first trying to figure out all the Keys backcountry and the Everglades and all these areas that we tried to explore, because now we're more relaxed. We've done it. Now it's just an enjoyable day out fishing, just catching fish and laughing about the old times and all the things that we've done together. It's always a fun time to be out there with them. Oh, there you go. Wow.
Snook, I think.
Nice. Yeah, it's a nice snook. All right. All right.
Nice run there.
Yeah, man.
Throwing enough potholes is gonna happen.
Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah. Nice Everglades snook there. Nice Florida Bay snook.
Mm-hmm. That's the difference in a snook and a redfish.
Definitely.
Yeah. Redfish are fun, but they're not that.
That's where they should be, right off the channel edge, in the holes. I'm gonna come down, Bubba.
Yeah, good.
Oh yeah. I like touching these guys. Got him.
That's what we came to catch.
Hey, that's nice. That's really nice.
That's a quality. That's a slot fish.
Oh, baby.
In the old days, I didn't have a problem keeping them, but these days, I haven't kept a snook in probably 3 or 4 years.
I agree.
They're just too fun, you know.
Me too. And look how just that little bit.
Chafed up.
Yeah, it chases you up.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, if we weren't using 40, he'd have been gone.
Yeah, I also like keeping them in the water, you know, especially a big fish like this, so that the weight doesn't hang off of them.
You're right. You're not holding them by the mouth, holding their weight in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. If you do, you cradle them.
Exactly.
You know, in the wintertime, when the water's cold like it is, we've had some cold fronts, water's in the 60s. We get those really low tides, the sun's beating down on all these flats that are exposed, heating that bottom up. You know, and as soon as that tide starts to come in, these things float up out of the channels, I think, you know, to warm up in the potholes.
Yep, and they got a nice little ambush area there.
Right.
Where they're setting up and trying to get whatever bait fish come by them. Oh, I think he's ready to roll here. There we go.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Thanks for pulling me into the wind.
Hey, I'm so glad you got that one, too. You know, there's nothing like a good buddy catching a great fish. So
Team sport. I wouldn't have caught him without you pulling me up the wind.
Yeah, the wind ain't anything.
But he did chafe that thing up. Florida Bay is unique. There's flats that last for miles. And over years of time, and the water movement, and the wind, and the current, it's etched out these spider-like fingers into the shallow flats that drop off into the deep channels. As the tide drops off these flats, the fish and the bait fall off into these spider-like fingers. Perfect ambush points for game fish. Hit him on the head. Redfish.
Redfish. This lure works nice,
Yeah.
even with some grass. Came all the way to the boat.
Mm-hmm. He's a lot more copper colored than
Yeah.
those last ones.
That spinner's still spinning.
Yeah. Good job. You know, Paul and I, 30-plus year veteran guides, spend 280-plus days a year guiding customers. And you multiply that by 30-plus years, it's a lot of days on the water. Everyone has their own tendencies in a boat. They have, I call it boat manners. You know, we don't have, Paul and I, because we're professionals and we do this every day, we don't have to explain to each other every movement that we make. I don't have to tell Paul there's a pothole at 1 o'clock. He already saw it. He knows to throw there. That's where the fish are going to be. So there's a lot of non-explanatory things going on during the day that we take for granted. You know, besides big tarpon, that may be my second favorite.
Yeah, I like them too. And you can kind of hold them in the mouth and be nice to them.
There he goes. Good job, brother.
Thank you,
Do it
bud.
again. You put it right on his head.
Oh yeah.
Got a nibble.
I think I got something going.
No, that thing hit the water. You hit that fish in the mouth. You and your big jigs. Okay.
I think that Rob and I are known as tarpon guides right now, as far as fly fishing for tarpon all year long, whenever we can. At this time of year, it's winter time and the water's a little colder, and as much as we would have liked to have been tarpon fishing, they're just not around. So in the winter time, we kind of focus more on the shallow water fishing for redfish and snook. And the snook will tolerate cold water temperatures as well as a redfish, and that's the time of year that we seek those fish on the flats as opposed to tarpon fishing in the spring and summer.
Not a bad way to spend the day. I say this a lot, but it's a reoccurring theme with me. When the fish show up it brings the kid out in us. And when I'm with a buddy, a guy I have so many memories with, it makes the day worthwhile. Whether you catch 100 fish or you catch 2 great fish, it doesn't matter. When the line gets tight, you get a smile on your face, you pat each other on the back, and it becomes a great day.
One of the great things about our trip was that we were able to kind of wrap it up late in the afternoon when there was no guides on the water, there was nobody fishing, and we were able to run into the sunset at the end of the day, and it kind of put a little cap on our trip, which was a beautiful sunset, beautiful weather, and we were kind of lucky to be able to have that time together on the boat for us to have a couple of days off and enjoy it together.